Good afternoon. I am back and I want you to know that this is a disclaimer. It's for our group, the trio, for our caregivers, and Facebook was not allowing me to be great. So I'm going to put the message here and then we'll make sure that our group gets it. And that's for our caregivers. And maybe you'll get something out of it. So listen in. I am talking about what is called the gap, which is a period of time for most caregivers. If you have a loved one or someone that is your person that you notice some differences, and that beginning part of that, what is called the gap, is when you start noticing tiny little signs that you can even explain away. Like maybe mom or dad forgot um, an appointment. They might have forgot um, it was Saturday. They're like, wait, I thought it was Sunday. Like they're just little things, and or they just seem kind of turned around more than normal. And you are able to say, you know what, they're just tired, or just they're getting older. You're able to give those kind of explanations, excuse it away. That is called denial. It is when you first start noticing something and you realize that actually it's not just a little something is off, but this is not normal. Yes, there are, that person may be aging, but this is a little bit more than that. Denial is fine. It's a way that we protect ourselves. I mean, the first time you think about your parent um, not being able to manage themselves, it's kind of a shock to the system, and you're not initially ready for it. But that is a part of the gap. And this conversation today is about, where are you in the gap? Are you at the beginning of the gap where you're just noticing little signs and you're still excusing them in your mind? Or are you at the end of the gap where you have really settled in and decided there's a problem here? This is deeper than I thought. And I'm going to have to take action. So that's when you've gotten to the other side of the gap. Let me give you, and I said the denial phase. That's right at the beginning. Then I'll say the pattern emerges. So the one-offs, like, oh, last week they forgot that they had their monthly appointment, that they always go and have tea with their friend, and they forgot. They didn't even think about it. That was before. Now it's every month they're forgetting. So it's the one-off moments become patterns. Patterns like unpaid bills, where they were just very diligent, very consistent, constantly like on it, taking care of those things, and now all of a sudden it's not happening. Or getting lost in a familiar place. They went to their doctor's office that they've always gone to for maybe the last 5 or 10 years, and all of a sudden they went to the area where their doctor is, and they called you because they didn't know how to actually get to their doctor's office. So it's not just a one off now, the pattern is emerging. One other thing I will say is increased irritability or suspicion. What I will say, and my grandma, some of the older people used to talk about, when people would start thinking that someone stole their money, or they stole their jewelry, or something valuable to them, that now all of a sudden they cannot find it. They're just like somebody came in and stole it. And they're suspicious, and it's genuine. I've had a conversation with someone and when they genuinely believed that their items have been stolen. And I can tell you that that's when you see a pattern. It goes from just a one off to now you have a pattern. So, but guess what? For you, the person that is in the gap, not the person that is dealing with these challenges of maybe some memory loss and different things that come with that. But you, the onlooker, the child, the adult child, or friend or family member, you're hoping that it's reversible. This is just temporary. There's something that we can do to fix this thing. The next phase is the defining moment. For many people, there's a specific incident that breaks through, like a medical scare, right? Or a dangerous driving episode. I can recall one of my parents driving, and they drove in one direction for about 3.5, 4 hours. It wasn't unusual that they were out because that was their routine. They went out, they did things on their own. This time they drove in one direction for almost 4 hours. And then they called because they did not know where they were. Um, they don't recognize somebody that they should know, right? You see real fear or confusion in their eyes. And that right there is a defining moment. When you see that fear, when you see that person who in your mind is that strong person who has always been self-sufficient, taking care of themselves, and something, as simple, and I don't mean downplaying it, but something like just going across town to pick up their cleaners, and you have to go and get them, and you can see it in their face that they know this is not normal. So they know it's not normal, and now you're seeing that fear, and now you're starting to recognize. That is a defining moment. And that realization can feel like grief, right? It can feel heavy, overwhelming, and lonely because now you understand. People say it all the time now. I see it a lot. The roles are reversing. And now you're moving through that gap. You're moving through it. And you're moving into out of denial, into doing your research, your mental research, into more of an acceptance, ownership of what's happening. Let's go to the emotional gap. What makes this gap so hard is that it's not just about memory. It's about losing that parent you've known. Not that they've gone to heaven, but they're here with you, but they have lost maybe who you are, or they've lost maybe some of the traditional things that they've done all your life, not necessarily their life, but you've always known them to do, fill in the blank. And now that's not happening. And that is hard for you to accept. And then also taking the decision they used to make. Now you're making those decisions. You're making the decisions that they made. What time are they going to eat dinner today? What time? When are we going to pay the bills this month? When is the best time for the doctor's appointment? Before they made their own doctor's appointment. Now you're taking your schedule. Maybe you are a sandwich generation and you have some younger children or even young adult children that you take care of and yourself. And now you're putting their schedule a part of your schedule. It's a reality. And it happens in that gap. How long is the gap? There's no timeline. It's really not. For some families, it's weeks. For others, it's years that there's no major change. It's just subtle things that you're watching. Often the child knows before they emotionally accept. So here that it's different, but it takes that period of time in the gap to accept it in your heart, to accept it in your mind that, no, this is real, this is happening, and I'm here. It's me, I'm it. If you're in that space right now, here's something important I want you to know. You don't have to wait for certainty to start gently helping. Small steps, right? Because you're not trying to, don't start nothing. Don't start nothing, it won't be nothing. Like, I'm not saying rush in like the cavalry and all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to save you. No. Gentle steps. Attend a doctor's appointment. Talk about future plans. Loop in your siblings. Sometimes we all live in one town. Sometimes we live in different towns. So now it's time, cue the family meeting. These are some things I've been watching. You may have seen them too. Maybe when you talked to them on the phone or you came to visit the last time, you noticed some things, and we need to talk about this now. And then keep notes of changes. And you're not weak for needing time to accept it. You are not weak for needing time to accept it. Give it to yourself. And I mean, I'm not saying go off to an island, for a year. You can't. But that time that you need, that drive, that cup of coffee, that time to sit with a friend and chat about it, give yourself that time to, figure out what is going on and what is your next steps. If this question is personal, um, and if this is something that resonates with you, I'm here to talk with you. What you're seeing, I'm here to talk to you and hear what you're seeing and what you're feeling and what's happening, because it's a journey. You're not going to get there in one moment. And you might say, I've been in the gap too long, I know I should have been stepped up. This is not, you don't need to judge yourself. It's not judgment time. It's just, now that you know, now that your head has connected with your heart and you've accepted it, or at least you've acknowledged it out loud, you can begin to move forward. And like I said, bite sizes, slowly, lovingly, and prayerfully. That event, that change, that life altering event does not have to be life ending. It can just be life altering. Like, okay, time's up. We can't play with this anymore. Let's take the next steps. So that was my tidbit about being in the gap. Where are you in the gap? And figure that out. Think about it. And if you want someone to talk to, you can contact the trio. You can join our page, or you can email us at the trio cares@gmail.com. That's what we are here for. We want to be a listening ear, so contact us. The other thing, I would like to invite you again to our Power of Attorney workshop that we're having on February 21st. Some of you came, we had one like a week and a half, and we had some technical difficulties. We've kicked out all those kinks, and we're having it on February the 21st at 6 p.m. Join us. It's a free event. You can basically complete your power of attorney while we're on the call. It's an hour workshop. Join us. And that's what we have. If you want more information about what's going on with the trio, join the group on Facebook. Just click the link, join the group, and you will get updates on what we're doing, where we're going, what subjects we're talking about. And thank you all for joining today, and have a wonderful day.